All right, I think we are going to go ahead and get started. Those of you who just walked in, feel free to sign in, grab an agenda, and just make your way up to the front for a seat. Can you hear me? All right, welcome everyone to the first SHAC meeting of the new school year. If you haven't already, please sign in at the back table and make sure you have an agenda so you can kind of follow along tonight's presentation. I am Kathy Riojas. I'm happy to be here on this kind of drizzly Thursday night. I will be the chairperson for this year's SHAC. I am a mom to a fifth grader in the district. I also get to serve this community as a licensed professional counselor. I've been working in the Carrollton area since 2020, and prior to that, worked in the school system as a teacher and school counselor, both in CFB and in a neighboring school district. So we are going to go ahead and get started. So good to see so many faces. All right, so why do we need a SHAC committee? Oh, let me go back. Why do we need a school health advisory council, what we refer to as SHAC? Well, because it's the law. That's the most important part there. But the other important aspects are just kind of the benefits that it brings to our community and to the students and families that we serve. Healthy children learn better. Schools play an important role in teaching healthy habits, and healthy homes and healthy schools support healthy children. The goals of our SHAC are just kind of outlined here on this slide for you guys to see. We want to make sure that we are assisting the district to ensure that local community values are reflected in the health instruction. We also want to play a role in strengthening the connection between health and learning. And then the other goal would be that we are helping parents and community stakeholders to reinforce the knowledge and skills needed to promote healthy habits and behaviors for a lifetime. So the components of a coordinated school health program, a CSHP, are also outlined here on this slide. I'll kind of read them. Family and community involvement, nutrition services, physical education, health education, counseling, psychological and social services, healthy physical school environment, health services, and health promotion for school staff. Parent representatives. So parents of students in the district are required to make up a majority of the council members. That's outlined in kind of what is the rules that we have to adhere to as the SHAC committee. So we would love for you guys to invite other parents who may be interested in participating. So those of you who are parents of students in the districts, maybe reaching out to your local PTA units could be a place to start, or neighbors. As a reminder, the SHAC members are appointed by the CFB School Board trustees and are the only members authorized to make motions or discuss motions and vote. Other people in attendance are considered visitors, and so visitors may ask questions during programs presentation. We definitely want our visitors to be involved in this process. Visitors can also can specifically address SHAC with comments or concerns during audience for guests. So we ask that if you are here and have comments or commentary that you want us to hear, that you fill out a form called Audience for Guests and turn it into Sylvia. Sylvia, if you'll raise your hand so we all know who you are, who is our committee secretary. The vision and mission of SHAC, we envision a future where healthy lifestyle knowledge and practices are integrated throughout the community for students and their families to achieve their highest success. Our mission is to promote healthy lifestyle choices and to create a climate of wellness for staff, for children, and for their families in the CFB community. So a moment, I'm going to address the audience for guests before we begin our presentation. Article 3, Section 2 of our open meeting says all regular meetings of the full SHAC shall be open to the public, and the public shall have reasonable opportunity to provide commentary. The chair may limit the time given to speakers. Committee meetings may be open to the public at the discretion of the chair. So that's just sort of what outlined in our bylaws. If there are no objections, the chair will set the time limit for tonight's audience for guests at 30 minutes. I see no objection to that, so we're going to go ahead and limit that to 30 minutes. We'd now like to open it up to audience for guests. Sylvia, do we have anybody who has said that they would like to speak tonight? Okay. So then the next item on our agenda is going to be a presentation on wellness policy revision by Wendy Hall, the nutrition coordinator, and Kristen Hass, director of student nutrition. So I'm going to turn it over to them. Yeah, you can come up here.
Your slides are immediately following this one, so you can just go to the next one.
Okay.
Do you want me to do them for you?
No, I can do it. I'll do it. Hello. Thank you for being here tonight. I'm excited to be here to talk about our SHAC wellness plan. I'm here from the Student Nutrition Services Department, and Kristen Hess, our director, is over there in that table. I'm the nutrition coordinator. Kristen and I are both dietitians. I've been here since April of 2022, so just a little over a year and a half. And the goal for the school year, as far as working on this wellness plan, is to evaluate the current SHAC wellness plan. And the goal for the presentation today is just to let you know that this is coming down the pike, that we're going to be working on revising the plan. So before we talk about the wellness plan, it's important to mention first that we have a district wellness policy, or it's called a local wellness policy. The local wellness policy is board approved each year. It's published on the CFB ISD Health Services webpage, and it provides a framework for the plan. So the required elements of a local wellness policy are divided into 7 parts. We have the structure. This means that the plan must apply to all schools that participate in the National School Lunch Program and the School Breakfast Program. The next part is the nutrition education and promotion. And this refers to activities that promote health and well-being and the student's ability to learn. And nutrition guidelines for all food and beverages sold or given to students must also be addressed. Stakeholder engagement is another important part of the local wellness policy, and the stakeholders that we encourage, or that must be engaged in part of the policy and the plan, are administrators, community members, board of trustees, school health professional, school nutrition staff, and students. The 4th part of the local wellness policy that is required is an assigned responsibility part. So we must assign a staff position to the following tasks. We need someone designated to be the developer of the local wellness policy, someone to implement the local wellness policy, someone to do the assessment and the updates. So we'll have 4 named people on there. It also encompasses marketing. We must describe how the following marketing issues will be addressed: the current district marketing guidelines, and we must establish a plan for eliminating all existing marketing information that does not comply with the competitive food nutrition standards, which is our Smart Snack standards. These are foods that are sold to students, like in vending machines, fundraisers, that kind of thing. A la carte items. And then the last part is we must assess the local wellness plan and the local wellness policy every 3 years, and that's called the triennial assessment. and that's to assess the effectiveness of the implementation of the local wellness policy. And then we must distribute that to the public. So for the SHAC wellness plan, what is the purpose of the SHAC wellness plan? It is to implement the local wellness policy. So the policy, we already have it. It's on our website. It was approved by the board, approved every year. But in order to implement the policy, we need the plan to implement all the things in the policy. So another purpose of the plan is to generate a strategy that describes how the local wellness policy will be implemented and describe how to address the goals and objectives that we've identified. So the goals for the local wellness plan, there's the local wellness policy and the wellness plan. So a lot of times people call the wellness plan just the plan. So I may just refer to it as the plan. It's nutrition, and that's divided into two sections: nutrition promotion and nutrition education, physical activity, and community involvement. So some suggested goals for nutrition promotion are to promote healthy nutrition messages in cafeterias and classrooms, to share educational nutrition information with family and the general public, and to meet federal guidelines for competitive foods outside of school hours, the snacks. Some suggested goals for nutrition education are to deliver nutrition education that fosters healthy eating behaviors, integrate nutrition education into the curriculum, and make nutrition education a district-wide priority. The next big area in the wellness plan is physical activity. And the goals here are to provide fitness activities for all students, make fitness training available to district employees, encourage students, parents, staff, and community members to use the district's recreational facilities. And these can be tailored to our district. These are kind of suggested things that we can use, but we can definitely talk and make this customized for us. And then other school-based activities. Promote wellness for students and their families at campus activities, and promote employee wellness activities at the campus level. And community involvement, this is interwoven into the nutrition and the physical activity goals. So in order to do that, the SHAC will solicit involvement and the input of the community. So as I mentioned earlier, we do have to measure and assess the plan, and the description of progress made in attaining goals of the plan must be assessed, the extent to which schools are in compliance with the plan, and this is required every 3 years by the Texas Department of Agriculture. This is something that when TDA comes out and audits the student nutrition department, they look at this and make sure that we are doing this as a district. So we definitely want to be in compliance with that. So the next steps would be at our next meeting in October to more thoroughly develop goals. We're going to be working on this in between now and then as well. And then to gather input from the SHAC members and get our wellness plan approved. So thank you. And does anyone have any questions? Yes.
I'm curious if when you talk about one of the components of the wellness plan maybe being physical activity, does that umbrella also maybe cover like, I think about some of the experiences we've had this year have been like the challenge, I think, at the local campuses in, with the heat being so high, that outdoor recess has been really limited for elementary students. And then there doesn't seem to be maybe always a plan for what to do when we have consecutive days of indoor recess and maybe even like a full week where, like, I don't know, a certain 5th grade boy can't go outside for recess and maybe the only option is to sit down and watch the Magic School Bus episode. Like, would that fall under physical activity for this wellness plan in terms of like how the school district can address maybe indoor recess?
I think it does, because it does address curriculum and physical activity and PE curriculum. So this is a time we can discuss that and what some of our challenges might be in still promoting physical activity even when we have hot weather or inclement weather, and what our available buildings are that we can use and different alternatives. So definitely a great topic to talk about. Yes. All right.
Typically, Renee and Jonathan are prepared for all.
Thank you. That's all I have.
All right, Sandra, how do we get back to our...
To the next
Yeah,
thing.
perfect. Thank you so much. Okay, so next we have a presentation on the NEST curriculum by some of our friends in the counseling department. So we've got Lynn Torres, Director of Mental Health and Behavior Services here.
Hi.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, is this on?
Oh,
So, we're getting into a serious topic here that's not a fun topic. And, well, we have something good to share about it as well. First of all, a lot of people don't realize that this area in North Texas just moved to the #1 spot for calls to the human trafficking hotline. So that's in the whole country. And a lot of that is because we have I-35 here and we know that's a corridor for that. So one of the things that we are being asked to do by the legislation, is it working? I can probably talk. Can y'all hear me? Okay. Oh, there it goes, okay. So one of the things that we want to do is to really build the character starting in our youth to not only understand how to take care of themselves, but also so that our children grow up recognizing that we need to really be very kind to each other, respectful to each other, and really learn how to have relationships with each other, how to date well, how to be healthy with relationships. So we have the NEST curriculum for some of you that have been on SHAC for a while. You all approved it for our health classes, and so we've had it in the high schools for the last few years. And last year, Libby Spears, who is the CEO of NEST, called me and said, "Hey, Lynn, do you want to try to get a grant with me?" And I said, "Well, sure, how do we do that?" And she said, "Well, the Office of Violence Against Women is offering a grant, and if we get this grant, we will create a curriculum for K through 12 for you all, and we will start with the very youngest kiddos and teaching them how to be protective in a developmentally appropriate way. And then we will also provide you with a victim's assistance response, which means that we will have somebody from Mosaic that will help our kids that have been abused. Because when kids have been abused and they're facing the court, it is putting more trauma in their lives. And a lot of kids go through that in a very traumatic way. So we're adding trauma on top of trauma. So by having somebody that would work and support our kiddos, I was pretty excited about that. So lo and behold, after lots and lots of paperwork, we got a grant. So that means that they have been busy creating this curriculum. And I just wanted a few minutes today to give you a sneak peek, because on October 2nd, this curriculum will be coming to us and we will be presenting it so that you all on the committee can choose to do what you did before. Last time we looked at it, you all were like, we didn't have to change a single thing. Basically because these people are the foremost authorities in the bring in people from Harvard and all sorts of places to write the curriculum. And Libby is so good at like meeting people and just getting people on board. She was asking if I knew who the Hunt family was in Dallas. I said, well, I don't know them personally, but I certainly know of the Hunt family. She says, well, I'm working with them now, and they're helping me with this and that. And the first thing that Libby ever did to get her name on the map was to create the movie Playground, which was the first full feature film on how kids are victimized with George Clooney. So the woman knows how to do this. And normally, this is very expensive because it's very expensive to do all this work. And like she sells her curriculum to places like DISD, but we're going to have her curriculum at no cost, which is absolutely wonderful. So I just have a little handout that she gave to me to give to you all, and I'm just going to let you have time to look at it, but it kind of goes through the scope and sequence and the things like that. But the 4 main pillars that she teaches are emotional agility, accountability, empathy, and gratitude. Because when people really build those characters into their little souls, starting as young people, they do less harm to themselves and to others. So that is the idea behind their curriculum. I told Libby, I said, Libby, when you develop this, you know you need to be developmentally appropriate because, we are not going to be scaring our 5-year-olds by telling them about traffic, and we're just going to be building responsibility and awareness for personal safety. So I'm going to be as excited as you all to see this, and hopefully this will be something that we'll be implementing for CFB very soon. Thank you.
Thanks, Lynn. Okay, next I think we have Sandra who's coming up.
I think we had Melanie ask if she could come.
That's right, I'm sorry. Melanie Williams is coming up next to talk about school counseling and Abbott. There you go.
Thank you very much.
All right, first I want to say thank you to SHAC for last year taking a look at all the curriculum that was submitted to you for approval. Senate Bill 9 requires the counselor guidance lessons on child abuse, trafficking, dating violence, and family violence to be parent opt-in, not opt-out. And so school districts are writing lessons and purchasing curriculum. We want to be able to put it online for our families to preview, and so this summer we wrote more curriculum. One of the things that SHAC recommended last year, because we had kind of grouped some lessons by 6th through 8th grade, 9th through 12th, we wrote lessons for each grade level this year for personal safety. So we have 24 items for SHAC's committee to review. Most of those are personal safety lessons, but we also added some lessons we'd like to ask for review that are supplemental. So with digital citizenship, some of those lessons can cross the line with child abuse and prevention of sexting. So because it gets close to that and it talks about online dangers in your digital footprint, not sending inappropriate pictures, we're asking for review of those supplemental lessons, please. And let's see, and for the younger students, those lessons are more about personal boundaries and when you feel uncomfortable not to move forward with something that you don't feel good about and to talk to an adult. We did have counselors in CFB write these. We also had 2 elementary administrators review them, and our senior director of digital learning, Megan Garza, to look at the digital citizenship ones. There are a few that we are rewriting. We had some that we felt like did require some revision, and so those will be posted within the next 2 weeks. So by October 1st, those ones are being revised and posted. So I have I've given the address to Sandra. There is a Senate Bill 9 SHAC folder, and I also have the ability in the QR code here. So we just thank you again in advance for the committee who will review all of that curriculum. I know that takes time and very, very much consideration. So we're grateful for that, and we're glad that we have the opportunity to have it reviewed before sending it to the school board for their approval as well. Any questions? Okay. Thank you, Rachel.
Okay. No. on to Sandra.
All right, I was asked by the SHAC to just share a little information on our campus Narcan training. So we have Narcan in all of our AEDs in our district, and the campus principal assigns staff on each campus to be trained. Staff members watch a video, and then they meet with the nurse, the campus nurse, and her hands-on training with a trainer. And they go over the different signs and symptoms to watch for, and some different scenarios and practice with the Narcan trainer. Any questions on that? All right, next we have Caleb Rosier from Carrollton Fire Department. He's going to share some information about our CPR program.
Thank you. So Caleb Rosier, Carrollton Fire Rescue. Happy to be here with y'all tonight. You may be aware of the unfunded mandate in 2013 that the state doled out saying, we'll give you no money, but you better make sure that your seniors have been trained in CPR before they graduate. So that didn't really impact us because we were already very entrenched with CFB ISD with CPR training in schools. But since then, we've become more and more involved. We're entering our third year of teaching the 5th, 8th, and 12th graders CPR and AED. So 12th graders and 8th graders get adult, child, and infant CPR training, hands-on with mannequins, as well as training with AED trainers and choking. 5th grade, we train them in adult CPR and AED, and it's really remarkable to watch the 5th graders kind of just intuitively get after it. And so it's been good. We're going into our third year there, like I said, doing all three. A lot of great partnership from the athletic department with Renee and Jonathan and all of their trainers, and then Sandra and her nursing staff have been great. All the educators and administrators at every school have been supportive as well. So we're proud of the partnership and hopeful for the impact that it will make in years to come. We also, given the impact that fentanyl has had in our community, as well as the extended communities across Texas and the country, we feel that it's our responsibility to take a couple minutes at the end of the 8th grade and 12th grade training sessions to kind of reinforce the emphasis that your school district has been putting on fentanyl awareness at all levels. We will not get into any kind of clinical training, signs and symptoms, any talk about overdoses, just that it is serious in nature, that we see it firsthand, and that they need to avoid it. We're going to use the DEA one pill can kill kind of methodology and some of the things that they talk about in their handouts. It's going to be very short and to the point, but wanted you to be aware of that. And then the last thing I will say is, this wasn't on the agenda, but your SEL and post-secondary readiness teams have been working on creating a fire academy, which is starting up this fall at Creekview High School, and we're really happy to be involved in partnering on that as well. It's just great to build our relationship together, the fire department and the district. We have a gentleman by the name of Chris Holterhoff. He's been with the department for about 10 years. He's leading operations to go be basically the SRO for the fire department, teaching. It started out as 19 freshmen, there's now 34. So he will be a presence. The kids who are part of the program have to sign a code of conduct. So it will be an option for kids all across the district to be a part of that program, and we're looking forward to seeing that happen as well. So that's all I got. Thanks.
I've got to carry a lot of stuff
Yeah, would you give me that iPad? Thank you. All the things to read. There we go. All right, so we have a couple of orders of business that we have to kind of get through. The first one is going to be that part of what we do this year is appoint a physical activity and fitness committee. So per the SHAC bylaws, this committee has to be comprised of at least 3 SHAC members. So if you are on the SHAC committee, we need at least 3 of you to volunteer your time to kind of look at physical activity and fitness that our district kind of endorses. So the committee chair can be appointed in consultation with me. So I'm going to let you SHAC committee members just kind of think about it and marinate about it with her a little bit and get with me if you are interested in serving in this capacity. What we just realized earlier in this meeting is in addition to this physical activity and fitness committee, we still have that one component of the NEST curriculum that Melanie presented and that Lynn also kind of talked about, that our curriculum committee from last year kind of still needs to kind of wrap up. So the curriculum review committee from last year were Sylvia, Betsy, Victoria, myself, and Jonathan. Jonathan is not present at today's meeting. If there is no opposition, I am asking as the chair that this committee be allowed to meet one more time. Oh, that's right, in April. We would like for the committee just to kind of resume as it was last year so we can take a look at this final component of the curriculum before we make any recommendations to the school board. So if there's no opposition, that is what I'm thinking would be best. Thank you for that. Let's see. Lastly, are there any topics that SHAC committee members would like to see maybe put on future agendas? Guests can also kind of chime in at this point. So if there are particular things or specific things that you would like for our SHAC to address or maybe have presentations about, we would really like to kind of hear your feedback on that. Some of the topics that maybe have been brought up for consideration are like House Bill 3. And I had to remind myself specifically what that one was about. And House Bill 3 kind of includes funding for public school safety and the security requirements. So there are kind of some new things that have happened recently that our school district, and just like every other school district in the state of Texas, kind of has to adhere to. So this one is specific to school security. That was the topic that was maybe brought up as something for us to consider. Another topic had to do with House Bill 114 and kind of maybe some of the additions or revisions specifically to kind of how school districts have to respond when students are maybe found vaping on campus. And so we want to make sure that our community is aware and educated of what those policies are in terms of what the school districts now must do. I'm open to kind of hearing what you guys maybe are thinking. Are there other topics for consideration that you think our SHAC committee maybe needs to address or you'd like for us to address? Yeah, Crystal?
Hi, so I work for Children's Hospital, and one of the things that we found out a couple of weeks ago is that with the public health emergency ending, that was what the government, the state government, they basically passed a law where during COVID, you didn't have to reapply for chip and Medicaid. It was automatically renewed. Well, with the ending of the public health emergency, we were on a call a couple of weeks ago that over 500,000 individual Texans are losing coverage, which means that all of these families are losing their chip Medicaid, they're going to the doctor, they're coming to our hospital, then they realize they don't have coverage, so then they're inundating the ED, but at the same time, they're losing their primary care opportunity, which is obviously a part of our overall quality of health. So it may be a good idea to get an update on that and see maybe what other institutions are doing, department organizations, see what we could do to kind of help spread the word. Because I know our outreach are inundated but it is a big problem. And that same chip and Medicaid is also SNAP, so it's also your food stamps, it's anything that has to do in the application, Tenets, all of that. People are losing coverage because a lot of them don't know that they have to renew.
Yeah.
They don't know how to renew, they get a reminder and they don't know how to read it. And so, I think that may be something,
Yeah.
that some of us may be interested in learning more about.
Can you tell us, do you have the date of that, when that expires?
So that started in March.
Okay, so it's already expired.
It's already
Okay.
expired. And they've rolled out some dates to like where, and I could probably find someone, like an expert
Yeah.
from the state that can give us an update
Okay.
here locally. But the numbers just keep increasing.
Sure.
So, but a lot of the people in this community, we know that are old.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, thanks for that. That's something for us to definitely consider.
And to add to her, a situation that I'm in, I'm disabled and trying to get my stuff switched to the Star Plus.
Uh-huh.
My benefits was cut as far as Medicaid, so the month of June, I didn't have any, so I understand what, and it did end in March and all of that. But now they're taking longer even to process. So they did mine as a mistake because they didn't work my renewal in time, and then they was like, they denied it because I was already getting it in a way.
Yeah.
And so I was caught in that catch-22, and it taken longer for them to process. And it used to be where they would even call you when you did your application to do an interview over the phone. They're not doing that.
Not anymore. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that. I saw somebody else's hand.
I just wanted to speak to that. I'm Chris Ness, I'm the Director of Student Nutrition Services. And they have been making us aware because those CHIP and Medicaid benefits also extend to meal benefits in the school district as well. So I know that we go out in our CFP weekly, so our principals were all made aware just this past week. In addition, I've spoken with Dawn Cornell, our communications lead, and she is also going to be doing some efforts from her perspective from the communications department to give that information out to households as well.
Yeah, we saw that DISD is actually doing some actual like enrollment fairs throughout the district where they're bringing all the people that can actually help families one-on-one apply. So like Children's is doing it, and a few like Facilio, a few others, because they know that a lot of families don't read their email or
Yeah.
that language barrier. So just something to consider, maybe that we could spearhead or something like that. Because other school districts are doing these like mini, they call them talleres, like little clinics where you can, based on where you live, they do them on the high school campuses, the theater patterns. Because yeah, right, the information's getting out there, but we found that the information isn't getting to the people that need it because of the language barrier, because of the technology barrier, and all of those things. So just something to consider.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Any other comments in terms of other topics that maybe we feel would be appropriate or necessary for SHAC to consider for the next couple of meetings that we have for this school year? Go ahead.
I have some areas I gotta help with the Dallas County. And we're currently in talks with different districts about the House Bill 114. And although it's not a new topic, I think it's a really important topic to speak about just because there's a lot of space for like discretion between schools and parents and whatnot, and how they speak highly about like alternative schools. And I think currently Carrollton is working on the catch program, but we do currently have another program that is being rolled out as an option instead of doing alternative schools. So I believe the House Bill 114 is something that should be considered.
Yeah, so an endorsement for talking about House Bill 114. I love it. Anything else? All right, if anything comes to mind, you guys could maybe email Sandra. She's graciously saying, yeah, sure. Okay, so before we kind of wrap up, we're almost at the very end of it. I've just got two quick announcements. The first announcement is remember that our next SHAC meeting is scheduled for October 12th. Same building, same time. It's on a Thursday, so we hope to see you guys come back, especially our SHAC committee members, but also just our guests who are here for today. And then lastly, we really would like to promote something that our district is hosting. So we'd like to encourage everyone to attend the Marijuana and Other Drugs, a community conversation scheduled for September 21st, which is next week. 6:30 to 7:30. This is a community partnership, so it's actually not on a CFB campus. It's going to be hosted at the Valley View Christian Church. The program will be offered in English and Spanish. Childcare is available for potty-trained children pre-K and older, so we hoped that as many of you who are interested in this topic are available to come out. And there being no further business, this meeting will adjourn at, I don't even know what time it is. 7:41. Thanks for being, 7:49. Thanks for being here, guys. I don't know how to turn it off. Or do you hit mute?
Yeah, just have to hold it down.
There you go. Easy peasy.
Yeah, good
Well,
job.
I say that. You did a lot of